All right, this is my John Deere 2120. It's a model made in Germany, so getting an exact restoration on this thing would be pretty hard, and then the loader's not John Deere either, so it's just not practical really thinking about a full restoration. But I just want to talk about a few things I really want to do to it. I really want to service the transmission. There is a screen, I believe it's on the other side, a pickup screen and a filter. I thought I seen it on this side, or maybe it was on the back side. But there's a pickup screen and a filter I want to service. I think it holds 10 gallons. Yeah, pickup screen will be right in there. I got the filter. I'm not going to do it today, but there's the filter housing. I want to do a pickup screen cleaning, filter change, and fluid change on the transmission. Today I'm going to be changing these nasty old fuel filters. Probably been changed in 5 or 6, 7 years. And that oil looked pretty clean, but the oil filter is definitely old. It's got rust on it. I'm gonna be doing that today, and then I have not been that. I've heard of the term oil bath air filter, but apparently that's what this thing has. I looked in here. I've heard of that term. I've never really seen one. Never. I don't know why. I just never have seen one before. But I looked in here and I noticed I could see some fluid in there. I was like, what the heck is that? So I took it apart. I think like I said, I'm not going to restore it. I'm going to get just a Donaldson air filter, and I'm going to bypass. I'm going to take this out and replace it with just a standard air filter. I don't see any need for the oil bath air filter, to be honest. Just kind of one of those things that's nasty. I have a miss in one cylinder. I found these injectors for $100 for all four. So I'll probably just be buying a set of injectors and installing those. They're real simple. You pull that bolt and you pretty much pull it out, and you gotta reuse this nut and this thing right here. So I'll be buying a little O-ring set with it, or a bushing set, whatever they call it. And I'm just gonna go ahead and do all four of these injectors and see if I get lucky and that's the miss. One thing that does concern me is this patch on the side of the block that is seeping a little oil. I found this. I'm thinking that could be what was patched. Why? Did it throw a rod? Well, it runs way too good for it to have completely thrown a rod, in my opinion, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it threw a rod. Maybe I should pull the oil pan and look in there. I'm just gonna ignore it for now. It's an old tractor. I just need to get so many things done and get me through the winter. Hopefully it does that, and then if that's the case, I might pull the heads, take them to a machine shop, have them rebuild it. A piston and sleeve kit is about $700, so parts and everything, bearings, I could have everything to do an in-frame rebuild for $1,000. I just need somebody with a little more know-how than me probably to help. I would like to find a new battery cover shield, because that just looks bad. But I'd like to get this tack working again. That's probably not that big a deal. I bet you, I don't know if I'd need to replace this or not, but I might be able to do some research and just do an aftermarket tack, digital tack or something. But yep, that's the 2120. I've already used it to move some pretty heavy stuff. I had this extra hook laying around, so I welded it on there at the Harbor Freight flux core welder, and so far it's lifted about 500 pounds without a problem. This tire is dry rotted. Hopefully it gets me some time. The other one's in good shape. Basically 2 good tires on that side and a rough tire and just a pickup tire type deal on this side. These are wore slap out, but I may have to look into getting some new ones of them. Overall though, not a lot of leaks, some minor seepage and normal stuff in my opinion. Hoses need to be replaced on the, I think if I replace hoses, I'm gonna start with these, probably those two, and probably start with those. These look like they'd been done somewhat recently. It's a little dry rotted, but overall not that bad. These are pretty rough, but they're holding. This just bought this tractor, like I said, and the oil didn't look too bad, but you can tell this filter's been on there a while by the rust. But overall, I mean, the oil didn't look too bad. I'm gonna clean that surface up before I put the new filter on, but we'll get that cleaned up, get the plug back in. I really wish I'd have got a crush washer, but I guess it'll work one more time on this one. Get the plug back in, get this thing filled up, and I'm gonna be running Project Farm did a really good review on this engine restore and low compression issues with starting. Now this doesn't have any issues with starting, so and I haven't had any coolant in the oil or any oil in the coolant, so I'm kind of wondering if it's one cylinder not firing right is not just completely an injector, or maybe or if maybe that would help with the cylinder. I don't know. I know that stuff worked really well, so it couldn't hurt the engine. Anyways, Project Farm decided that it worked so well that he would keep running it, and I actually had that I was going to run it in my Frontier just for giggles, but we no longer have the Frontier. So, and this is almost the same exact displacement, and it's 4-cylinder, but I'm gonna run the 6-cylinder formula because it's almost the same displacement as my 6-cylinder gas Frontier, and diesels run on high compression, so I don't think it could do any harm to the engine. But we're gonna get that put in there, and I'll let you know if anything changes. But I was kind of thinking about cracking these lines and turning it over a few times and seeing if we have diesel come out of all 4 of them or not. See if it's just completely a fuel issue. I mean, it could be something as dumb as some air getting in there and causing that cylinder not to fire. I don't even know which cylinder it is, but I probably ought to do a compression test. I guess you would just pull these injectors and screw a little compression checker in there. But I think the easiest thing to do will be to just replace all 4 of them, like I said, since I can get them for $100. Wouldn't hurt to have new injectors anyway. And if that don't fix it, then we know we've got a cylinder issue. Okay, I'm just now pulling off the fuel filters. There's a couple things you're going to want to look for. I did a lot of fuel filters when I was working for Schlumberger on frac equipment, but you're going to see that O-ring right there. The fuel filter it comes with, the fuel filter should come with that O-ring, and there should be an O-ring up top where this filter seats. And I want to show you something. Look at all this rust caught in this filter. I believe this tractor had sat for quite some time without being ran, and basically the guy we bought it from, he was very straightforward, which I wouldn't expect any kind of warranty or anything, but he's like, I want to be clear, it is as is. And I think basically all they did was got it to start, and it didn't run very well, and being a German tractor, like I've said before, he didn't want to, you know, do any kind of restoration or anything to it, because to get it exact, which is what some of those people want, would be pretty hard. And he probably gave little to nothing on trade-in, so just a quick sell, make $1,000, $1,500, or something like that, on top of getting him a good sell on another piece of equipment. He just decided to turn this around, because obviously he didn't do fuel filters, oil filters, anything like that. And I'm leaning towards, as nasty as this was and how long it had been since it last ran, I'm leaning towards injectors, to be honest. I mean, we haven't seen inside this engine, and I don't plan to until I get some things done with it. Probably over the summer will be the least I'll need it, so that'll probably be when things get done to it. Plus I need to find somebody a little better than me at engine overhauls. But look at all that in the bowl. I'm gonna get this cleaned out, get these changed, and oh, there should be, yeah, there'll be an O-ring on that nut right there on the bottom too. So this will definitely be very helpful. If anything changes about the way this runs, I'll be the first to let you know. Okay, I'm guessing it goes, this one's for fuel water separation, and this one is debris, because of the way this is just a little, this nut screws into a bolt up there, and that's what holds that filter on, and this one screws into the top of the housing. And I'm guessing, you know, I don't know why it's different. I was thinking, I had something in my head, I thought maybe that's why. But the point is, that gasket I pointed at earlier, and I said you'll want to make sure you change that. Well, these filters don't come with that gasket, and this one is in bad shape. Now, it wasn't leaking, but what I did was, this was full of rust, so I cleaned it out with some carbon choke cleaner, and I didn't like the way that gasket was looking, especially after hitting it with that carbon choke. So I rubbed some Lucas. I think I'm gonna come up about half a quart shy on my oil change, and I have this in the shop that hasn't been used. It's really good for rejuvenating seals and stuff, so I went ahead and wiped a little bit of that around the bottom, so when this goes back together, hopefully that seal won't fall apart. Next time I'll probably have to do fuel filters sometime soon anyways, because it's going to be getting, this thing's been sitting, it's going to be getting some rust out of the tank and stuff like that. So just a heads up with the Napa filters for this tractor, it would be 3166. They do not give you the gasket for the bottom of the bowl, but they actually have an extra gasket. This one would seal against, right here would seal against the top flange. You'd put the gasket in there, and this would seal against it. Well, these were designed ever so slightly different to where the top of this filter has a gasket and that flange. So you actually have 3 rubber gaskets, 1 here and 2 up here, unlike this one. So that was kind of actually a pain the way they did that. And then they short you on probably, I mean, this gasket was in really good shape, but on this other one, they shorted me on one of the most important gaskets. But I think it'll hold for now. Like I said, I'm gonna be doing the filters soon anyway, so I will remember that the idea of that gasket is about 1/2 inch or 5/8. Try to come up with a gasket for it. Okay, so it was really stuck on there, and I was trying to get it off, and I ended up dropping it. And I'm not sure if I broke that, but I did notice after the filter came off that was chipped. It did look like it had been pretty dirty inside that chip, like soot, or not soot, but dust and grime had kind of stuck in there, and like it could have been pretty old, but I think my oil stabilizer and will work just fine right there. Hopefully that doesn't leak, and if that don't leak, then we'll just order a bowl next time we do filters. But pretty bonehead mistake. I was trying to hold on to the glass and tap the filter until it broke loose, and as soon as it broke loose, I just slipped out of my hand, cracked it. But everything's going pretty good so far. I was thinking about I'll probably prime it with the screw loose in the bottom. Hopefully the air will come out. I don't know, or no, probably prime it with these. Yeah, we'll prime it with these cracked, and the air ought to come out the top. Yep. So we'll put the screws tight in the bottom, and then we'll turn the key on and let these fill so we don't get it airlocked. I think that'll do it. I think it'll fire right up after that. So I'll get the screws in there and we'll see. Okay, let me show you some more what you get into when you have an old tractor. I turned the key on to start priming, and look, bad wiring, very bad wiring job on this tractor. But as you can see, the bowl's filling up. Hopefully we'll see some fluid start coming up to the top here. Surprised no fluid is coming up to the top yet. That bowl filled up really fast, I would have thought. Oops. I would have thought that fluid would have already started coming over into this bowl. I could swear it's running better. I could just swear it's running better. Could all be in my head. here where I can feel it vibrate. That's how I know if it's running better, is if it's not vibrating as much. It's got quite a bit of vibration right there still. Replacing the fuel cutoff lever, or whatever you'd call it, pull. Basically, the guy that sold me the tractor had already ordered this. It's real long, so I was pulled on that, separated that. I'm gonna snip it right there, and I'm gonna snip the cable out here by my thumb, and I'm gonna get it hooked up and should be able to cut off the fuel from the tractor now. That's been a problem. I don't like climbing in and out of the tractor without the fuel shut off. So, yep. Let's see. That's that. And then I had this little thing right here, so I'm gonna get that hooked back up and put in there, and that should be it. Well, it fired right up. It's actually sounding pretty good too. Take it out here in the road and spin the donut and bring it back. Probably the smoothest I've heard it run.